Narrator. What if you had to leave everything behind, cross a wild ocean, build a home from scratch, hunt for food, and survive in a land you'd never seen before? Welcome, time travelers. Today, we're going all the way back to early America, where every day was an adventure, every choice mattered, and survival was never guaranteed. And here's the challenge. Pay close attention, because near the end, I'm going to ask you one very important question. If you know the answer, you officially earn the title of History Explorer. Ready? Let's step into the past. Chapter 1. The Dangerous Journey Across the Sea. Narrator. Close your eyes for a second and imagine this. You're standing on a giant wooden ship. The wind is howling. The ocean stretches farther than you can see. The boat creaks and groans with every wave. You're not on a vacation. You're sailing toward a completely unknown world. For many early settlers, the trip across the Atlantic Ocean took weeks, even months. The ship was crowded. Food was limited. Storms were frightening. People got seasick. Some travelers worried they might never reach land at all. But still, they came. Why? Some hoped for wealth. Some wanted freedom. Some wanted a new beginning. Imagine the courage it took to leave behind your home, your friends, and everything familiar, just for the chance to start over in a place no one fully understood. That was the first step in early American life, a leap into the unknown. Chapter 2. Jamestown, America's first English settlement. Narrator. At last, land. In 1607, a group of English settlers arrived and built Jamestown, the first permanent English settlement in America. But this wasn't the kind of arrival you see in movies, with cheering crowds and easy success. Jamestown was harsh, the land was swampy, mosquitoes were everywhere, clean drinking water was hard to find. Food was often scarce. The settlers had to build shelters quickly, protect themselves, and figure out how to survive in a place that felt wild and unfamiliar. Imagine arriving in a forest with no stores, no roads, no electricity, no phone, and no idea what would happen next. Every log they chopped, every wall they raised, every meal they found, it all mattered. Jamestown was more than just a settlement. It was a test of endurance, and for the people there, survival was a full-time job. Chapter 3. What daily life was really like. Narrator. Now let's imagine you're not a leader or explorer. You're just an ordinary kid living in the colonies. What would your day look like? Well, forget sleeping in. Colonial children often woke up early, really early, to help their families. Life was busy, and everyone had responsibilities. You might carry water, gather firewood, help cook, feed animals, sweep the house, or work in the garden. And when there was time to play, children made their own fun. No TV. Instead, they played with homemade toys, things like dolls, hoops, marbles, and simple games using whatever they had around them. School was very different too. Many children attended small one-room schoolhouses. Lessons often focused on reading, writing, religion, and basic math. Supplies were limited, and discipline was usually strict. Life as a colonial kid could be tough, but it also taught independence, hard work, and creativity. Back then, childhood looked very different from today. Chapter 4. Trades, Skills, and Hard Work. Narrator. In colonial America, every community depended on skilled workers. If something broke, you couldn't order a replacement online. If you needed clothes, tools, or furniture, someone had to make them by hand. That's where tradespeople came in. Imagine stepping into a blacksmith's workshop. You hear the clang of metal on metal. Sparks fly through the air. The fire glows bright as iron is shaped into horseshoes, nails, tools, and cooking pots. Or picture a tailor carefully cutting cloth, stitching garments that would be worn every day. Many young people became apprentices, meaning they learned a trade from a master craftsperson. It took patience, discipline, and years of practice to become truly skilled. Colonial America was built by hands, not machines. Blacksmiths, carpenters, coopers, bakers, printers, shoemakers, and seamstresses all helped communities grow stronger. Every tool, every shoe, every wagon wheel, someone made it. And that work kept the colonies alive. Chapter 5. A Colonial Feast. Narrator. Now let's talk about one of everyone's favorite topics, food. After long days of hard work, meals were important, not just for survival but for bringing people together. Imagine sitting at a colonial table after harvest season. The family gathers around. The room is warm. The table is filled with simple but hearty foods. Depending on the region and season, meals might include corn, beans, squash, bread, stew, roasted meat, and pies. Food wasn't always fancy, but when the harvest was good, families celebrated. These meals were moments of relief, gratitude, and community. In a world where life was uncertain, sharing a feast meant something powerful. We made it through another season. And maybe that's part of what makes those early celebrations so memorable. They weren't just about food, they were about hope. Chapter 6: Meeting Native American Peoples. One of the most important parts of early American history is the relationship between settlers and Native American peoples. When English settlers arrived in places like Jamestown, they were entering lands that were already home to native communities, including the Powhatan people. These encounters were complex. Sometimes there was trade, cooperation, and shared knowledge. Native Americans taught settlers important survival skills, including how to grow crops and understand the land. Without that knowledge, many settlers would have struggled even more than they already did. But these relationships were not always peaceful. There were also deep misunderstandings, tensions, and conflicts as different cultures met under difficult circumstances. To understand early America, we must remember that this story is not about just one group of people. It is about many people, each with their own lives, traditions, and hopes for the future. History becomes richer when we see all sides of the story, and that's what real exploration is, not just seeing the past, but understanding it. Chapter 7: The Big Question. Narrator: All right, history explorers, it's time. You've crossed the ocean, you've stepped into the wilderness, you've worked, learned, built, and survived. Now here's your question. What was the first permanent English settlement in America? Take a second. Think about everything we've seen so far. Hold that answer in your mind, because the reveal is coming up next. Chapter 8: The Answer Revealed. Narrator: The answer is Jamestown. That's right, Jamestown, founded in 1607, was the first permanent English settlement in America. If you got it right, congratulations. You've officially earned your place as a history explorer. And if you didn't, no worries. That's what great adventures are for. Learning something new every step of the way. Jamestown wasn't just a place on a map. It was the beginning of a major chapter in American history. One filled with struggle, resilience, change, and unforgettable stories. Chapter 9: Honoring the People of Early America. Narrator: As our journey through early America comes to an end, let's take a moment to reflect. The story of colonial life is a story of courage, but also challenge. It's a story of hard work, survival, discovery, and change. It includes settlers searching for a new life, children growing up fast, craftspeople building communities, and native peoples whose knowledge, presence, and history were already deeply rooted in the land. Early America was not easy. It was messy, uncertain, and often dangerous, but it shaped the world that came after. And when we learn about these people, not as names in a textbook, but as real human beings, history comes alive. So the next time you turn on a light, buy something from a store, or sit down to a big family meal, just remember, there was a time when every home, every meal, and every tool had to be made through grit, skill, and determination. That was life in early America. If you enjoyed this time travel adventure, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with a fellow history lover. And before you go, tell us in the comments, would you survive a week in colonial America? Why or why not? Until our next trip through time, farewell, explorers.